Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to this meeting of Denby Parish Council's Planning Committee. It is Wednesday the 14th of May and we are in the old school as usual in Denby Community Centre. For the members of the public, there were an opportunity to speak to us shortly, but we need to do some domestic business first. And the first item on the agenda is apologies, and we have had apologies from Councillor Hall, Councillor Jones, Councillor Langford-Smith and Councillor Vickers. And everybody else is here. So. Okay. Item 2, declarations of interest arising from the agenda. Members and officers are invited to declare any relevant interests. Notwithstanding this item, members may subsequently declare an interest at any point during the meeting. Is there any declarations of interest? No. Okay, thank you. Item 3 is the minutes of the previous meeting, to receive and confirm the accuracy of the minutes of the Planning Committee meeting held on the 23rd of April 2025. Does anybody have any comments on the minutes? I have a show of hands then for those who are happy for me to sign them as a true record. Thank you very much. Those that are here voted. Item 4 is to receive and review the project report from the committee clerk. It's been circulated. Has anybody got any comments on the project report? No? Well, thank you for that, Lucy. One of the things that I'm not sure it's on there yet, but is the fact that some of the snagging at Carpenter's Field has been done.
Yeah, it's on there.
It is on there. I couldn't remember if I'd seen it or not, but they've partly filled in the area around the oak trees by the pub and actually started cutting the grass again.
Cutting the weeds.
Well, yeah, the weeds are outgrowing the grass, but yeah. Anyway, moving on to item 5, and this is the public participation session. The meeting will recess for not more than 15 minutes to allow any members of the public to address the meeting. We have 2 members of the public. There are some rules to this session which I will shortly invite the clerk to read to you, and then I will go through the lists of applications in front of us, plus offer comments on any other part of the agenda. If you're here for a particular If you're here for a particular application, please let us know, even if you don't want to talk to us, because we change the order so you don't have to sit here as long as we do. Yeah.
Well, when do you want to know which
Well,
application you're interested in?
Well, we're about to go through them. So.
If you want to know now, so you can see the screen.
Oh, right,
Yeah.
So I'll ask Lucy to read the rules of this part of the meeting.
The Parish Council, via this committee, comments and makes recommendations on planning applications affecting the parish. Proceedings during the public session, which will only exceed 15 minutes in exceptional circumstances, must remain under the control of the chairman, to whom all questions and comments on applications or other planning matters must be addressed. All comments on planning applications should be made to the head of planning management at Winchester City Council.
Thank you. So, for the benefit of our visitors who's just come in, if you're here for a particular planning application, even if you don't want to talk to us about it, please let us know, because we changed the order so you don't have to sit here too long.
I'm for Glendine.
Okay. First off then is application number 1, which is Ms. Lamb and Ms. Brazil's application at Glendine, 152 Amber Road, to demolish a existing bungalow and annex and replace it with a single-storey bungalow and annex. You wish to say anything to us, or you just come to listen?
A couple of things really. Just to explain the state of the bungalow, obviously it's not bolted together, so that's why it's still standing. And then on a couple of like the biodiversity plans that was put in, they said that there was grass where there's hard standing, so but from the side of the bungalow to the boundary is hard standing. There's also hard standing at the back where the existing garage used to be.
Okay, thank you. Any questions from anybody? No. Thank you. I take it that's not why you're here. No, fair enough. Okay, now number 2 is Mr. David Westrum's application to change in use name and reduce the number of caravans and tents allowed on the camping site at Pithill Farm, Kidmore Lane. Do you want to comment on that one? No. Okay. Thank you. Number 3 is Mr. and Mrs. Harvey's application, land at rear of 14 and 16 Park Road for the demolition of existing outbuildings behind 14 and 16 Park Road and construction of a new 3-bedroom self-build chalet bungalow and detached garage. Do you hear for us to speak to that one?
Yes, we do.
Okay, well, this is your opportunity.
Yeah, I put the objection, all the points of objection in the comments, and that's a document now on the City Council's site, but something extra.
Yeah, you're
I
Mr.
want to say, Mr. Pope, and this is my wife, Mrs. Alison Pope.
Yeah, okay. Yeah. I was checking because I've only seen one objection.
Okay.
Yeah.
It just seems to me, if that type of application gets through, that's like a garden, a house and a garden, and access through the gap between 2 houses. It will be a precedent for similar type of things. There's loads of other places that could happen. And that part of Denmead, and then Denmead in general, could start looking like a shanty town.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
Also, do you want to just raise just a few points that you put in the objection?
No, I don't. It's all written, absolutely.
Okay.
That's the process.
And
All written.
you'll look at that as well.
Yeah, we have.
It's all covered.
We've received that. Yeah, via the Winchester website. Yes, I'll mention that later. And then, therefore, moving on to application number 4, Mr. G. Rance's application for a detached garage at 90 Admiral Road. Do you want to speak about that one? No. Okay. Anything else on our agenda? Any of our visitors wanted to speak about? No. Okay. Thank you very much. I will then close the public session. We will. You can still sit here and listen, but this is where we talk about the applications. I propose, colleagues, that we go do application 1 and then application 3, as we have visitors here for that. Oh, okay, fair enough. Yeah, you're quite welcome to sit and listen to us. But
Do you want to sit this?
We might as well hear what you're going to say about 14 and 16 Park Road.
okay, anyway, we'll start with Glendine, as that's the first on the list, and we have visitors for that. Glendine, those who don't know, I shall find the site location plan. It's on the right-hand side of Amnor Road, just after Soak Road. So there's Soak Road here, this is Amnor Road, and there's Glendine. I think you see a bungalow and a annex, as it's referred to, just to locate everybody. I actually went and did put a notification into the neighbours and the house itself, and thought about taking photographs, and then realised that we'd been supplied with some photographs of the current building. As our visitor says, it's not in very good state.
It was my side of the thing, huh?
So that was the front, that's the rear, and this is the photographs of the annex. And the application is to replace both with a new dwelling on the plot. Bear with me while I pull up some things for you to look at. Without my glamorous assistant today, I'm having to do it all. So that's the proposed site plan. You can see the slightly larger bungalow, but with annex behind. That's the ground floor plan. Proposed front and rear elevations with wood cladding. I'm trying to find the zoom control and failing. There we go. So slate roof, horizontal timber cladding, oak framed details to the gable, oak framed porch, and at the rear a similar thing, but obviously with folding windows and bifold doors as they referred, and side elevations similar. I think I need to find some, there we go, annex elevations. Basically, the proposal, a new and larger bungalow and a better state annex. Any questions on the facts? I missed anything that somebody would like to know? No?
Not a question on the fact, and just that the annex is being rotated through 90 degrees and is going across the rear and not down the side in its the way it's laid out at the moment. And the annex at the moment comes front to back on the property, and it's going to be across the back.
Okay, just checking. Yeah, okay. Yes. You are correct. Any other questions? Opinions from anybody? Anybody? Councillor Brown?
It's very difficult to work on sizes of the buildings because they're obviously increasing the size of the bungalow virtually out to its boundaries, and by the look of it, the size of the annex is also increasing.
Yeah.
And whilst it was said that it's on a hard standing, it won't be on the same hard standing because it's being rotated 90 degrees and being put in a different place.
I think the comment was that there was a comment that effectively the driveway was currently grass and it was going to be hard standing, and it's pointed out that it is hard standing. It's just got grass growing through it at the front at any rate. Yeah, Councillor Carson.
I can't see any material reason why Winchester would turn that down.
Okay.
And I propose we make no objection.
Okay.
I'll second it.
Okay, thank you. So we have a proposal for no objection. Show of hands, please. And against? Okay. So that's one against. And The rest 4. So basically, good luck with it, ladies. Obviously, we don't make the decision. Winchester does, but we're not objecting. And you can sit and watch the rest, but you don't have to.
We'll let you get on with what you need to do.
Okay. Don't worry about the chairs. Right. Thank you. Bye. Number 3 then, which is 14 and 16. That house to the rear of 14 and 16 Park Road. We've seen something similar before with this. And objected. And there's Mr. Bubble, our visitor's objection here. And he is concerned about the ecology, replacing a rural garden with a large bulky building and garage. Locally located along the north edge of the defined settlement boundary, adjacent to a public right-of-way which has views into the site, and so to the countryside beyond. I was objecting on the grounds that it's that close to the boundary. It's overdevelopment of the site. I'll show you the plans shortly. I'll just give a brief summary of our visitors' objections. The new building will block views of the countryside and restrict sunlight to his garden. There's no window. There's a window in eastern face overlooking his garden. The proposed access would be between properties 14 and 16, which is a narrow drive and out of character. He objects that it's a cramped and overdeveloped nature, will give noise and disturbance to neighbours, particularly obviously during building. I may have missed it on the way through, but there was a suggestion that emergency services couldn't get there. That's a brief summary, which you can all read all the words, but that's a brief summary of our visitors' objection. Okay. This is the location and block plan, Park Road, the rear of the properties along here, back onto the path going behind, which is on the boundary of the burial ground. So this bit here is the burial ground, the bottom corner thereof, and that is the footpath past the burial ground out into the countryside towards Hambledon. So we can see numbers 14 and 16 here, and the proposal is to demolish these buildings here and go through and let's try to find the and the block plan for the existing but not the proposed. That one. Fun. Apologies, it seems to have decided it's not going to load that file. No, just when I give up, it does. Okay, so here we have two block plans, site plan existing, so that's the two houses, that's the access, proposed access through, and these are the current buildings that are there, and zooming in, that is the proposal for a house here, a garage and 3 other parking spaces. As you can see, hard standing around it. Just going to find the elevations. Proposed elevations coming up. That is the proposed west elevation, 2 different scales showing the proposed height compared with the height of the buildings behind, which are visitors and their neighbours. It's got the name of the road. Sorry, where are you again?
It's Park Lane, those houses, we're in London.
Yeah, yeah.
Those, sorry, can I just address the chair, those heights don't look right to me.
Yeah. They don't look. Well, to be honest, they don't look right to any of us, I don't think.
Because there's a further sketch or
Okay.
drawing that shows those buildings in fact higher or very close to it. So how we get these huge, great, monstrous plantings?
Yeah.
Those my house.
Okay. Anyway, thank you. Sorry. The north elevation, with a dotted outline there in the top one, showing the proposal, their last proposal, which was refused. East elevation, which is the facing Ludcombe, with the window that we've heard an objection to, and the garage, and then the south elevation, which is obviously facing down towards where the drive will be, again in 2 different scales. I will show you the floor plans proposed. So this is the first floor, which shows a master bedroom, landing and a shower room, and the east-facing window would appear to be in the shower room, and therefore one would assume would be obscure. And the ground floor plan showing the hard standing and the basically patio areas. And we have 2 more bedrooms, a bathroom, a snug study, dining, open area, dining and kitchen area, utility room, and a living room to the west. Dimensions are not easy to work on. There are 1 or 2 comments I would like to raise with you. One is the landscape officer at Winchester, whose comments was we weren't consulted on the previous application. In our view, the size of the proposed scheme continues to appear out of proportion to the space it is intended to occupy, leading to a cramped arrangement in several areas. For example, the relationship between the southwest corner of the living room is oppressively close to the new 1.8 metre brick wall, and the northwest elevation is very tight against the boundary with the public footpath, such that views from the footpath will be negatively affected. It is noted that the case officer's report previously describing the scheme as a substantial built form that would dominate the plot, presenting a cramped form of development that would fail to enhance the character of the area. It is considered that the changes which have been made to the refused scheme to reduce its size have not gone far enough and have not really changed the basic problem. So that's the comment from Winchester's landscape officer, and another one, the sustainability officer. No, you can't read that because I'm having trouble on this computer. The design access statement has a couple of sentences relating to the sustainable construction credentials of the proposal, which is to meet the requirements of the current building regs. For reference, the building regulations requirement is now stricter than local plan policy CP11, but this is only the minimum national requirement. Given the local plan regulation 19 policies have some weight, we would expect development to go beyond simply meeting building regs. While achieving net zero as per local plan regulation 19 policy CN3 may not be expected at this point, a significant improvement on current building regulations should be. I suggest a 50% reduction in predicted regulated energy CO2 emissions compared with the building regulations baseline would be an appropriate target. And CP11 also requires predicted internal mains water consumption to not exceed 105 litres per person per day. So I think that one, though it doesn't say that we object, can be taken as an objection from the sustainability team. Anything else anybody wants to see on this one? Difficult to ascertain the building sizes from scaled drawings. Yes, I find it hard to believe that where the statement 3 and 5 Ludcombe in the background is correct. I
know there were loads at the bottom.
Sorry, no, we're discussing that. Okay. Yes, Councillor.
You know if they're going to cut down or dig any hedges up and stuff like that?
Not specifically mentioned. There is a report from a tree officer, I think, as well. Tree officer. Sorry, I'm going to mention that. He's commented, no supporting arboricultural details have been submitted. The application documents mention existing trees, but no tree survey has been provided. The inclusion of tree protection condition on any planning approval would be prudent. He said no objection to subject to conditions. And basically the conditions are make sure that any trees are protected. One of the comments last time, I think, was that there was a fence on the northern boundary. Is that correct? I think so. That's a brown wall.
Yes, there is a hedge and a fence on the northern boundary.
Yeah, I think it's part one, part the other. Sorry, Councillor Barry, but the tree officers say any trees should be protected, have their roots protected, but he's not objecting. Councillor Clay was next.
I was going to say, what were the grounds for refusal last time? Just remind me.
Overbearing. I think it was too. I can't remember offhand. It was overbearing. I think it was too close to the boundary, both on the north and on the east. It was dominating the Ludcombe houses.
And clearly from these it hasn't changed much.
Well, they moved it further away from Ludcombe, but and before it was a long spread It does that. One of the ones I showed what it was like. It was a long spread building, spreading out across most of the plot. Now they've gone shorter, but upstairs as well.
As the landscape team points out, they haven't done enough.
Yeah, the landscape team said it's still too dominant as far as they're concerned. Sorry, yeah, Councillor Carson.
The new application is, as the landscape officer has identified, is not significantly different to the previous one. I feel that we should just make our comments referring to the last application and the landscape officer's comments and present our same objections, because there's not any that's significantly different.
Councillor Brown, sorry.
Our last objection was overlooking loss of privacy and material, and is a material planning consideration. This proposal is contrary to Winchester City Council Local Plan Part 2 policies DM 16 and 17, as the proposal would have an unacceptable adverse impact on nearby properties by reason of overlooking, which is by going up a story they've made the overlooking even worse. They haven't improved it. The design scale and layout does not respond positively to the local environment, and it is overdevelopment of the site. A proposed distance of 1 metre between the dwelling and neighbouring property and between the dwellings and the public right of way deemed unacceptable.
Well, certainly one of those is no longer true, because it's no longer a metre away from the Ludcombe Garden, but it's a bit further away this time. It's hard to tell from the plans whether it's been moved away from the fence or not.
Winchester's objection, was the proposal would be contrary to policy CP13 of the local plan Part 1, DM 16 of the local plans Part 2, and policy 3 of Denmead Neighbourhood Plan, and in that it would result in a cramped form of development that would not respect the spatial character of the area in terms of mass, scale, and also negatively impact. Sorry. Public right of way.
Councillor Clay?
So with Winchester, the landscape team, and some valid points made here tonight, if Councillor Carson's proposal stands, I think I'll get to second that for objection.
Yeah, everybody.
Can we have it put to committee as well, please?
We can ask for it to go to committee if the officer is minded to pass it, though. Given some of the other officers' comments, I'd be surprised. But yes, by all means. So, can I have a show of hands then with those who wish to object on the grounds that same as that before?
Strong objection previously.
Strong objection? Yeah. And ask for it to go to committee, and also reference the landscape officer's comments, because
I also think we ought to reference the refusal from last time.
well, yes, but I was yeah, well, okay, but I was thinking we were going to use what Winchester said last time, but we should emphasise, I think, the landscape and the tree officer's report. But the landscape officer certainly.
And the energy efficiency, the ecological.
That was the sustainability of it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, I think that was unanimous. So you're okay with that, Lucy? Well, we can look up the other one.
Did you?
No.
Oh, okay.
Okay, where are we then? Moving on to. Thank you. Yeah. Well, you can stay till 9 o'clock if you like.
Okay, thank you very much.
Okay. Number 2 then, folks, is an application from. Well, it's actually from Pitt Hill Farm. I'm pretty certain, but it's about a camping site at Pitt Hill Farm, Kidmore Lane. Change the permission name to Pitt Hill Farm instead of the Camping and Caravanning Club. Nothing visually or physically will change from what we've been doing for the last 40 years. Also, to reduce from 5 caravans or motorhomes plus 10 tents, as opposed to tens, in total 15 pitches to 8 pitches. So basically, people may not be aware that approved camping sites approved by the Caravan and Camping Club have a special basically dispensation. They usually, Caravan and Camping Club usually put restrictions on the number of times it can be used, but the field down Inham's Lane for a long time was a Caravan and Camping Club site. It ceased to be so, and that was when the caravans that were in there were made to move on. So I'll show what we've been provided as the location plan. Excuse me. This is the farm here, and this appears to be the site. And there is another one which may or may not be any better. Oh yeah, there we go. So it's Steam Copse down, which I think by that time is down the bottom of the hill. Yeah. Down at Pitt Hill. Pitt Hill Farm is on the top, above Pitt Hill. Councillor Brown?
The easiest way to get to it is go up to the top, come to the crossroads, turn left, go down to the dip, which is all normally full of water, and turn right and go in that way. That's where the caravan place is, but Pitt Hill Farm is straight on at that crossroads. So that's the application. Ecosystems Services. That's the form filled in that they filled in about ecosystem services and environmental health at Winchester said. Thank you for contacting the department. I confirm we have no adverse comments. But basically, it's been there 40 years. They're reducing the size, but instead of being a caravan and camping club site, it's now going to be Pitt Hill Farms site. That's the gist of it. And it's a South Downs National Park application because it's in the park. Councillor Clay.
Okay. If you want your opinions.
Yeah.
I don't see a problem with this. I think Pitt Hill Farm is very befitting for David. He's been there for years. He's a farmer himself. He's got livestock. As you said, it's not too far from Pitt Hill Farm, just across from Mr. Edwards' own building. So I think just for the change of name, it works well. And if anything, you're doing a reduction rather than asking for anything, because that in itself should be quite straightforward for pitching. So I don't think there's any need for concern. So I would propose no objection.
Okay.
Favour that.
Councillor Brown, did you have a comment?
I always get wary when someone changes the name from something that's very official in a camping and caravan site, which has restrictions about times that they can use it, and takes that off. And it makes me wary of the fact that although they say they're reducing the size of it, who's going to be there to police it, for one, and they're taking a lot of restrictions off the camping and caravan clubbing system by changing the name.
Councillor Barry?
What about toilets and stuff like that and getting rid of stuff on the site?
Well, we're not given any information on that front. We're basically being asked to comment on a reduction in the size of the site that's been there for 40 years. That's all we have. We've had no. What was that one? We've had no real. There's no water source. They're asking what this is asking what they're doing to conserve the national park. and we're not getting any further information than other than that they're reducing the size. Councillor Garson.
The application is to change the name. Any discussions around what they may or may not do in the future, or whether they have toilet facilities. It's quite common on remote campsites to have long drop toilets, or insist that each user of the site has their standalone facilities. The application's been to change the name. I don't see any reason why we could possibly object to it.
Well, we've had a proposal that's seconded to that effect, so can I have a show of hands to those who have no objection? And against? That's 5 to 1. Okay. Oh, sorry, did you? I thought you. Okay, 4 to 1 to 1. Beg your pardon. And the last one is 90 Amor Road. Application to, it says proposed a detached garage. We received a comment from the neighbour today. And I will bring up the relevant documents, and when I did the visit to deliver notifications, I took a couple of photographs. This is a photograph of the house, and that's the neighbour, I think, is the one who's complained, but I'm not absolutely positive. Objected, shall I say. The application is to put a garage in here. I'll show you the plans in a second. That's from across the road. You can see that there's, I think there was a car there. I think there might have been two. There's some vegetation and a fence. The proposal is to put a garage in behind that fence, and possibly behind the hedge, but that's not particularly clearly mentioned. And there are two parking spaces plus the garage. That's the proposed garage, which, as you can see, is a double. Materials of another garage door, horizontal composite timber effect cladding, black UPVC rainwater goods, profiled metal insulated roof panels. I know what Councillor Brown's looking up. It mentions large magnolia, but not much else. This is the consultation from the Land and Environmental Health, saying they have no problem, they have no adverse comments. In other words, they don't believe their land is contaminated. Today we had a comment from 92 Amor Road, which it would be the neighbour, the one in the photograph, the house in the photograph. Some of it is relevant, some isn't. There is already a large full-length lean-to garage attached to the left of the property, which drains onto our land. It's made of second-hand materials and is not in keeping with the houses. And the site plan is wrong, as it shows the garage ending before the front of the house. And an empty car space. Well, my photograph showed there was a car parked there. Not really relevant that there's a rear full-width conservatory and a shed in the rear garden. A lean-to roof attached to their garage. the wooden structure and shed in the front garden, which I did notice. It's effectively a bin store in behind the hedge and fence, with items including other than bins in there. I don't know if there were a motorcycle and gas bottles, and there was next to it, along the fence with the other neighbour, was a car covered in a tarpaulin, obviously for protecting the car. Basically, the neighbours are saying it was a bungalow designed for 2 people, and there's now 5 in there, which again is not necessarily. Looking at the rest of Amwell Road, there were no other developments of this nature. I suspect was what Councillor Brown was looking at.
Yeah, I've already looked at that.
Because I had as well. The objection says the application states there are no trees within falling distance of the proposed development, while there are in fact 2, an existing magnolia and another taller one behind it in the corner. Depending on the depth of any footings, the roots will be damaged. Lack of parking space will ensure that this is a 5-car household will need to park on the road. There are no properties in Amwell Road which have garages forward of the house in the front garden. This proposal is not in keeping with the character and design, and the application states that the roof will be made of tiles to match house, but in the proposed drawings it states clearly the roof will be made of profiled metal insulated panel, not in keeping with the design of the house. I would suggest it would look more of a workshop or warehouse. And in our opinion, the garage will be used for further business use to include car restoration and mechanics. Again, not something that it's a planning consideration, but that's the objection from the next door neighbour at number 92. Councillor Ranger.
Are there any other objections? I didn't see anything on the website.
No.
It's just that single objection one.
That's the only. I put a notification in 88A and handed the 2 neighbours across the road as they were both in their gardens their notifications. But we've heard nothing from them, and there's nothing on the website last time I looked. Councillor Brown, I think, was probably first.
I think the reference that was put in from the neighbour is, if you look at the house there, it shows there's a parking space alongside it. That can't be, because on Google Earth it shows that the front of the garage is in line with the front of the house.
Which is what the neighbour said, and you can see that from one of my photographs.
Yeah. The other thing I was going to say is that where they put that garage so far in the corner, you would have to take the trees out because you couldn't possibly fit them in there. If you look on Google Earth, they are quite substantial. One of them looks like holly, I would have said to one of them, one's magnolia.
Yeah.
And great shame, because if you look go on Street View, with those trees, they actually built their fence around the trees. Because they stick through them.
Yeah. So yes, as can be seen from this photograph, the car is parked there in front of the house, not down the side as they intimate, and the other car was tucked into the corner there. But yes, there are, as my other photograph shows, there are 2 fairly substantial trees, which, if in place, well, it hides the house, so if in place, it would probably hide, to an extent, a garage. Councillor Berry, sorry, yeah, you were.
Yes, I'm looking at the plans, there's one tree in the corner, which, as you said, could be holly or whatever. That's going to have to be removed. Now, when you put the footings, you're going to damage the trees and restrict growth on them, so I think we should object on it.
Object on complete change in the street scene, because there's no other similar development in the street. Yeah, I haven't got there yet. Sorry. That it would also change the street scene because the two trees, the substantial trees there at the moment, would undoubtedly be lost to either having to be removed or the footings damaging them. Councillor Brown on something else?
We do have to be careful about saying there's no other garages in Amwell Road that are forward of the houses, because there are.
Yes, there is at least one.
Councillor from this parish council has one.
Yes, it's a bit further up the road. It's not in keeping with that particular part of Amwell Road. So I'm looking for other suggestions for an objection, other than overbearing, not in keeping with that part of the road, and risks losing two substantial trees which are say vital to the street scene, or not vital? Well, give me a word, somebody. Integral to the street scene. Okay, we all right with that? We got Lucy overbearing,
Yeah, I've got
losing of trees.
Councillor Berry did make a proposal and I second.
Yes, I'm just checking that Lucy's got the necessary notes to think. So, yes, we show of hands for those who object. Okay, yeah. That's it then. Other than that one, unless anything else. And that's the last of the applications. So going back to the agenda, decisions received. We have 3. Malmain's House, Hamilton Road, proposed single-storey side extension was permitted. And number 5, Lowland Road, a rear extension after demolition of conservatory and regularising an existing summer house was approved, and a Hiltonbury Forest Road front first floor dormer extension was permitted. And that's those done. New planning apps, I've seen any. No. So far, so no. Social media, we normally put up our conclusions on the applications. Anything else that you can think of at the moment?
Do we actually put on the decisions?
Sorry?
Do we put our decisions from Winchester up as well?
Don't think we have done.
No.
No. They're part of the agenda, but yeah. Well, I don't want to overwhelm.
No.
Because, well, yeah, but if we put up all the decisions as well as all our decisions and all the things that are going to be discussed, we'll end up with.
Yes,
we could end up with people getting planning social media blind, shall we say, without the rest of the council as well. Matters with next agenda, item 10, for anybody. Councillor Ranger?
Just a thought, I don't know whether this is the right time to raise, but the couple talking about Park Road, I've seen some development in Park Road very recently that is way above normal planning. I've never seen the planning application come through. If you're familiar with the Park Road area, you know where Wilkwood View is, and you've got the thoroughfare with a little gate that goes into the pathway. There's a bungalow right next door to that path.
That's how the application come through.
Did it?
Yeah.
Because that extension they put on there is huge.
Yeah.
It's
we
enormous.
didn't object to it.
It's a.
It was a carport, but they've converted it into a half house.
It's a disabled person's
That's what might be
building.
why it's huge. So I don't know.
Yeah.
Not that that makes any difference.
Not that it makes any difference, but that it was.
Okay, so as long as it went
Well,
through the
it was.
process, okay, fine.
The application talked about flat access, and it was about a living room, bedroom, bathroom. So we didn't object, but we could. privately concluded it was something for somebody disabled or elderly. Yeah,
Right, thank you.
that's okay. Yeah, some of the others on the other side have been quite big over the years, but... okay, confidential report. To pass a resolution in accordance with the Public Bodies Emission and Meetings Act 1960 to exclude the public and press for discussion relating to the following and to receive the confidential report and the enforcement report. Enforcement issues and notices, tree preservation orders.
I move.
Thank you.